All right. So recently you've been making a lot of noise on the internet.
I noticed that. That wasn't intentional. Not at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm a person that they had to force to get involved in this new wave of social media.
Yeah, from what I can see and what I think is you can no longer be just a rapper. Like you have to have social media game. Unless you're like
Yeah.
Drake,
But see, but
or
then
something like that.
look what the platform he started from other than rappers. So even your point still stands valid. It's just that when you say have to be or can't, I don't use those words because then you got the exception to every rule. So I say most likely it's to your best interest that you are more than just a rapper. So I would agree with you with that sentiment. Understand?
Yeah.
I'm just pretty exact about how I say things, especially in the game where people are always trying to recount what you said, hold you accountable for it, twist it up.
Right.
It's gonna be hard to twist me. You feel me?
Right. Yeah. I feel that.
But I was just going live based on a very casual approach, doing simple things such as being at my kids' football practice, being a coach, and going live, sharing those type of moments with about 15 or 16 people. And that was fine for me. And then I would wake up the next day and notice someone reposted it on their blog site, and I was getting thousands of views. It was generating interest. It had been over a year, and I still hadn't looked at it as a tool or outlet or a platform to utilize for my career. But what actually happened was it started happening a few months ago. I was going live, just talking to a few people, sharing some incidents, using a few industry names that just happened to come up in my casual conversation because these are casual stories about my encounters. But it's how I learned what clickbait is. There's a whole industry out there that survives and manipulates off of clickbait as far as the internet getting views. I guess when I casually speak and tell my story, certain names come up that are very valuable in the clickbait world. So people snatch them and they use these thumbnails and they make these stories. And I just realized that my actual reality fits in on accident.
What story do you think was
Got it
most
popping
popular?
the most? Well, I was blessed with Young Buck being exposed. There's a guy that likes boys instead of girls, and he was trying to hide it. I happened to be very close to Young Buck prior to that being exposed. So someone, when it first hit the web, made it their business to make me aware of it. So I was one of the first people that became aware of it, and because I was so happy to see his downfall, I was attempting to share it with everybody I could as rapidly as I could, and that kind of helped spike a wave. Bangadocious 3. Young Buck been dead. Go get it. Have you seen me on Wheel of Fortune?
I didn't, man. I just heard about it, though.
Yeah, Pat Sajak told the whole world to play the game like me.
Oh, wow.
He said I made it look easy. Shout out Pat, Curtis from Compton, the security guard.
How'd you... Okay. How'd you get hooked up with Wheel of Fortune?
Oh, it's one of my favorite Lifetime shows. A long time ago, about 15 years ago, I sent in a postcard attempt to get a call back, never did. Was watching it in more recent times, noticed when it went off, it said the way to submit to be a contestant was through email this time. Made an email submission and got a call for audition. The rest is history. 6.5K in 22 minutes, fastest cash I ever made. I had a big old bag of money though. I got choked. It was one of them. I got nervous. I had a lot on my plate, and I choked and dropped a big bag of money. Y'all saw that. Damn.
Oh, on the game?
Yeah, I actually won 3 out of 5 puzzles, and I was going for the 4th, and the moment just got a little overwhelming for me. I had a daughter that was just becoming at driving age. She and I wasn't seeing eye to eye on the issue, and I had both halves of the car. Wheel of Fortune is one of my favorite shows. I always thought it was extremely unfair that they required you to get not only one half of a car and then get the other half of a car, and then you had to solve the puzzle in order to win the car. I thought they made that extremely too difficult. So imagine my surprise and shock when I find myself at Wheel of Fortune with both halves of the car, and I am ready to solve the puzzle. And the puzzle was for the car. My daughter ain't spoke to me in a week or two. I'm thinking, ooh, look, I'm gonna make up. I got you a car, and it was like Michael Jordan missing the free throw at the last minute. It was a puzzle I could solve in my sleep. And I dropped about 30 bands on a ground trip to Jamaica in my daughter's car.
Oh, man.
But, it's the game,
Yeah, damn.
I've seen Brady have to give some pretty disappointing press conferences at the end of some pretty big games. Not many, not quite often. I might have picked a bad name, but I've seen some pretty big dudes.
It happens.
Brady usually closes, yeah, but it happens. So that's what happened to me. But I appreciated the experience extremely. It was one of my dreams come true. It's like I've always had a fondness for word puzzles and crossword puzzles in class whenever they were timed. It seemed like I always got them first. I would be so nervous somebody's going to beat me, and I'm looking at it, but I would always get mine first. So for me to be able to be there, then you know when you watch it on television and you're successful at the game, you always assume that when you get there, it's not going to be that easy. But it actually was easier than I expected it to be.